No further thanks are necessary, Commander, but you are most welcome. It is my function and pleasure as a medical droid to help and heal human beings.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
All right, hello everybody. We're back for another Star Wars From the Bacta Tank on Rain Man Digital. Lots of news released yet again. Couldn't keep up. I had to actually cut through and find the top three articles that was most interesting to me for this week. Number one is the Vanity Fair magazine. That was whoever scored that deal for Vanity Fair deserves a promotion. They probably made a massive bonus check for the end of the year sale.
I'm pretty certain they got their own like personal hooker at this point.
I mean, that's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
Vanity Fair, which is not typically your magazine of choice to go to for Star Wars or geek type stuff. They scored an exclusive. It's somewhat of an interview, but also just a release of information, things that we kind of didn't know. In fact, I think the biggest thing that came out of the Vanity Fair article was the fact that they actually revealed Adam Driver's character, because there's always kind of a debate going on. Well, who does he play? Is he going to play young Han Solo in a flashback? I remember that was going around for a while, and it comes out that he's actually playing the new bad guy, Kylo Ren.
Oh, wow.
And there were some people that were surprised with that, and then others were like, we kind of figured that. Because they did keep if you realize he's one of the few actors that haven't done almost any press.
Yeah.
And usually there's a reason why. And that's why people were leaning on the fact of saying, well, then he's probably playing Han Solo because that's going to be a secret.
He's this movie's Khan?
Oh, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
After the movie comes out, God, it was J.J. Abrams just told us he was Kylo Ren. Jesus.
Well, he did it. He did it.
It just happened, folks. So you've got your wish.
He has such a good look, too. I'm looking at some of these photos I'm so jealous of, man. They hired a professional photographer to go on.
It's so dreamy.
And do like exclusive photos of these people on the set. And you have a photo on the very first page of the website on vanityfair.com. And you see a photo of Adam Driver in snow. These are legit, too. This isn't on the set. This isn't... They could have easily... Okay, look at... How funny is it that usually when you do promotional stills for a movie, you're in a studio. These are on location shots. Everyone's dressed. That's real snow. They brought the photographer out there, obviously, while they're filming scenes.
Yeah.
So imagine...
that's the one where it has like the snow troopers behind him. Like snow troopers.
Yeah. Imagine the NDA that the photographer had to...
I'm pretty certain he had to sign like multiples, and then he had to get a cavity search like by 4 different people.
Oh yeah, well,
and hopefully one of them was like a giant Norwegian woman.
There's probably a clause in it that says if you leak any of this, we will kill you.
Yeah, I'm
pretty certain they showed him pictures of his family like on video screens. Like, here's your mom. Here's your wife and kids, or your husband and kids.
And they use a newspaper with the date just to make sure they know what's happening right now. Like, look at this. This is your wife in the background, right?
It's actually just like their hired muscle and Jar Jar Binks masks.
I mean, come on. With all the rumors that are being leaked, I wouldn't be surprised if JJ is going through those type of lengths to make sure everything stays secure. I mean, even cameras nowadays. They're Wi-Fi enabled. So what if what if someone decided to hack this woman's, it's a woman actually, I think, a photographer, decided to hack her camera and just start pulling shit.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they disabled the Wi-Fi as well.
They do what everybody does, is that they only give the password out to certain people.
Yeah.
Or even then it's...
Yeah, I mean, and also the cover, a Vanity Fair cover, was I was pretty stoked. Harrison Ford, Chewbacca, and then the 2 new characters.
Yeah.
It's funny that they're the face. So far, they are the face of Force Awakens. Harrison Ford and the new people. I'm wondering if that's just because they're trying to keep surprises still. Like, they don't want to show images of Carrie Fisher yet, Mark Hamill, because they want to hold back maybe for the final trailer.
And this is, kind of with as little that we've seen about, the actual, like, they're looking for Luke, but this first movie could very well be, they're looking for Luke, but then the person that they get led to, the last person that might have saw him or that knew him best was Han, one of the people is Han Solo and Chewie.
Yeah.
and they, this movie's kind of them getting to Han and Chewie, and then at the end you can kind of see, like the passing of the lightsaber, a little bit of Luke, at the fire, and then that's kind of the end, and then.
No, it's not Luke, dude. It's a futuristic hand. So
that's right.
Come on, man.
It's Darth Vader. He somehow survived and now inhabits Luke's body.
I went back and listened to that show where we all kind of ganged up on David about the technology, and I felt bad. I was like, man, we were kind of harsh to David, man. Like all of us were just attacked him. I felt really bad. I almost cut it during editing. I'm like, nah, it's funny. It's funny.
I like the last show where I left early. Like
it's probably why David didn't show up today.
I know.
He's all, fuck you guys.
Well, I was really not looking forward to the conversation about Battlefront, because at Celebration we had this giant in-depth talk in the hotel room while we were eating pizza about Battlefront.
Yeah.
And me and David just going back and forth.
Yeah. And you guys are both very passionate too. So
he's kind of bringing his point. He kind of gets his where he gets passionate. He kind of no.
Yeah.
And then there's just me going like, shut you fucking idiot, like just yelling at him.
Yeah, I got your back on that one, man. I hear it in anger. Anger just flows through me.
All right, let's get back to this topic here. Okay, so first of all, as we suspected, Adam Driver is playing the hooded bad guy, Kylo Ren. And yes, it's kind of Kylo Ren's starting to grow on me. Because remember at first, like, Kylo Ren doesn't really sound like a bad guy name. It's starting to wear me down. Yes, the girl star is the Lucky cast member swinging the next generation 3-pronged lightsaber that prompted so much discussion in the first teaser. In case the all-black ensemble wasn't enough to tip you off to Ren's allegiance, those ominous stormtroopers behind him are a big clue. Yeah, so we kind of, obviously, we get the idea that he's kind of running the, we kind of talked about in the last show, that we're pretty sure he's part of the First Order now, it's called.
Well, and if you look at it, too, in the trailer, when they show, like, they kind of show the First Order, and then they show the troopers in front of them, and, like, it's that one quick scene where it kind of shows that, almost like that giant, like, stage. And, so I was looking for reference for the new Stormtrooper helmets, and I found that picture and I kind of zoomed in on it, and it looks like there's actually, like, on that stage, it's either there's some people that look like they're from the old Empire by their dress, and there's I think maybe 2 or 3, I have to go back and look, that look like they might be Sith, like they might be Sith Lords.
Oh, that'd be sweet.
So
that'd be so cool.
I'm really, like, because again, like we've said before, where there's, as forward to whatever Kylo Ren is, if he's got to be an apprentice.
Yeah.
That, where there's an apprentice, there's always a master. It's the 2.
Right. Well, my question is, does this mean we will see Kylo Ren with his mask off?
I'm wondering. I mean, I'm wondering if they just did that because for the photo. Yeah. For the photo, if it's just a press photos and that's it.
I mean, who knows? There might be a brief moment we'll see him with the mask off.
I would imagine. Do we really want? I don't know if we want another character with a complete mask. Yes, we've seen it tons of times in comic books, but let's remember that we got to focus on what the mainstream has seen.
Well, and again,
don't you think that if we have another character with a mask on, that we might start thinking, they're really riding that Darth Vader train a little too much?
Well, and what could happen too, and again, I guess this can also be riding the Darth Vader train. Is like in the film, wherever if that picture is from the film during filming, that could be during the beginning while he's because we've all kind of talked about he might be looking for Sith relics.
Yeah, that's what the rumors are.
That's in the beginning of the movie. He somehow might get scarred. Yeah, and that's why he keeps the mask.
Yeah.
Or who knows? I mean, but
God, I'm so excited, Greg. Keep talking. I get more and more excited.
And so,
tell me a story, Greg, about Star Wars. I mean, dude, it's funny because I almost can't go wrong with like story ideas. Like I start talking to people about it, and I mean, oh yeah, that's a good one too. I like that.
The other day at work, because I work in a glass fabrication factory, and so there's a lot of a lot of glass fabricators and
a lot of penis.
Yeah. And so I go in super early, and there's one other guy there who loves Star Wars that I found out, but apparently I found out around the office that I'm the Star Wars guy.
All right.
As I sit here in a Star Wars shirt and Star Wars fans.
They go to you.
So, and so the other day we were talking about stuff, and I was talking about Clone Wars cartoons, so I'm rewatching them again, and he was like, oh, I don't know about this. Like, I wish because he was talking about the first 2 movies. Horn of the Mic.
Stay in the mic, yeah. I got a gate on there, so yeah, it's going in and out.
Oh, and then and I started going off on stories, and I started talking about like, oh man, like you gotta listen. I told him about the podcast and everything. Like, you gotta listen. Like one of the things he talked about was the live action show, and one of the guys on there brought up like if they did it about stormtroopers or clone troopers, and we were just going off with ideas, and I would start rambling. And then he's asking me about like, you know, actual history.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here spouting off, and then I was like, fuck, I can't wait for this film.
I know.
Like I'm like, I'm going at midnight. I'm going the next day.
Dude, we gotta get a crew together. I think Dustin, you'll be down here by then.
Yeah.
So I think we're for sure going to go. I might even give up my screening. I was telling Maggie the other day, I might give up my screening again in a contest.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to lose the feel of seeing it like for the first time, everybody there.
Yeah.
Because the screenings are a lot different than going to an actual showing.
Yeah.
You know, the early, like with the screenings, you just go in there. There isn't the hype of the movie.
Yeah, there's not the excitement.
Right.
There's not the guys dressed as Jedi down in the front.
And that's the reason why I gave up my Avengers ticket, because I wanted to go there. I wanted to see previews. I wanted to smell popcorn. I wanted to hear annoying people rant. You know, like that's the movie experience when it comes to these big movies.
It's not like when you and I went and saw Big Hero 6 and we were making fun of everybody.
Right.
And just for the record, man, that contest to give away your ticket, that was brilliant.
Oh, did you like that? Was that fun?
Oh, yeah. That was awesome.
Oh, good. All right, so we also have a little bit of insight into Lupita Nyong'o's character. Again, I don't know how to say that name.
I thought that was her last name. It's like, wait a minute.
It's Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh, thanks. There's dots with the proper pronunciation.
Yeah. She apparently...
I got to learn how to talk good. Come on.
Apparently, it has been revealed that she is a CGI character.
Oh.
So we'll see. That's something else they released. And plus, in this magazine here, they gave us our first full look at the dashing Resistance pilot, Poe Dameron. Dameron, which is Oscar Isaac. He looks pretty effing good as a pilot. I was kind of iffy about it, but he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what they do with him too. The fact that they're introducing a main character as a miscellaneous just X-wing pilot, like he doesn't really have a clear connection so far as we know.
He's just a pilot.
He's just a pilot. So obviously it's going to kind of.
I think they're going to make him related to Porkins.
So stupid.
Don't go nowhere. More Bacta Tank is coming right up.
Hello, this is Stormtrooper 1, and if you've missed any portion of the show, you can always head over to FromTheBactaTank.com and listen to the show at your leisure. We're also on Stitcher, Smart Radio, Stitcher.com, search Bacta, and add us to your favorites. Thank you, and listen responsibly. And may the Force be with you. And long live.
Hello, Rain Man Digital listeners. The new Rain Man Digital app is now available in the Google Play Store. You can now take the entire Rain Man Digital Network on the go, anywhere you want to go, on your Android-based device. Whether you want to listen to Supernatural The Crossroads, The Rain Man Show, Critique Revolve, Weird West Radio, or Star Wars From the Bacta Tank, it doesn't matter. You can take all those shows now on any Android device. So go to the Google Play Store and search Rain Man Digital and download the free app today. The app will also be available very soon for iPhones. So keep checking in.
You're listening to From the Bacta Tank on Rain Man Digital.
All right, so let's move on to the next bit of news that we have coming from the Star Wars world. And this actually shook the foundations of the Star Wars fandom for several days. And I think a lot of us are still healing over, trying to recover after hearing about this. But director Josh Trank reportedly fired from his Star Wars film for erratic behavior on the set of Fantastic Four. As we know, Josh Trank was the director that was actually going to helm the first standalone film, the first film that's going to be set in the new anthology, Star Wars anthology series. And before he got fired, there actually was rumors going around that people weren't happy with what he was doing on the set of Fantastic Four. Okay.
Look at the trailer of that film.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems coming on.
That's what it looks like.
Well, it sucks because this guy has, a budding career. He gets involved. This is what the danger of taking on a big budget movie. We talked about this with JJ. What happened if he took on Force Awakens and it was horrible? People would castrate him, and he wouldn't have a career.
I'm pretty certain you'd see the first nerd mob.
For real.
And but instead of breathing apparatuses, it would just be inhalers going off every 20 feet.
Well, whatever. Josh Trank was probably walking around the set of Fantastic Four going, ha, fuck all y'all. I'm working on Star Wars. Yeah. This ain't shit.
Yeah, probably.
He's just like, Fantastic Four. It's going to be great. It's going to be better than Avengers. It's going to be better than... Oh, jeez.
All right, so it's not sounding too hot for Fantastic Four director Josh Trank at the moment. Last night, the filmmaker announced that he was departing from the Star Wars anthology film, aka the standalone spinoff not directly connected to the events of Star Wars: The Force Awakens. He was set to direct a 2018 release. Now, there should have been some clues into this because he was a no-show at the Star Wars Celebration. Yeah. So they already knew he was going to be taken out. Yeah, they already knew. This is probably way in the works. Now, according to...
Which one? He's not directing Rogue One, is he? No,
he was originally going to direct a Rogue One. While the trade certainly pointed at rumored tensions between Trank and Fantastic Four producer Simon Kinberg, who is also producing Trank's now former Star Wars film, I guess there was issues on set between them. And from what I was reading, Simon Kinberg is a professional through and through, if you know the stuff he's done. And the disgruntlement that was coming from him, that if he's not shy to say this, that means there's some, because usually they all say face. You know what I mean? Oh, we're just parting ways because we have, we didn't see eye to eye. We had creative differences, little things like that. The fact that Simon Kinberg pulled no punches and said he had erratic behavior on the set of Fantastic Four, that signals a major issue between the two.
Yeah.
Man, he slept with my mama.
Yeah, that's what we don't know. He actually slept with Mrs. Kinberg.
But too, if you get something like
he's better than Trank,
as big as Star Wars, and even granted, I talk a giant bunch of shit about the new Fantastic Four movie, but
rightfully so.
Well, I mean,
but either way, when you get handed something like that, again, it's Fantastic Four. It's not like the Avengers or X-Men or Deadpool or whatever. But so you get handed something that's hey, we want to make this franchise big again, or we want to make it big, period. And you get handed something like that, it's kind of a big deal.
Well, you gotta, we all want to jump, a lot of people are jumping on the, Trank train, kind of, but at the same time, I mean, his erratic behavior could have been fucking stress. Okay. It could have been the fact that he's a very young, up-and-coming director, a young person, fairly new in the business, and he's doing Fantastic Four, which already is getting bad press, bad word of mouth, just because of the fans, okay? That causes a lot of stress. And he's now in charge of the first standalone Star Wars film. For a young guy who's fairly new, that's a lot of effing stress. So yeah, it's very likely that his erratic behavior is just coming from the fact that just a lot of stress, stress on his shoulders. I mean, what did he do before this? He directed Chronicle.
He did Chronicle, and he did the Kill Point TV series. He did 5 episodes.
Yeah, back in 2007. He's done one feature film that was fairly epic-ish. It wasn't a great movie, but it did have a lot of visual effects and a lot of action scenes. So he's new on the scene.
I think... I remember.
Well, that's a lot of pressure, man. To go from Chronicle to Star Wars.
Yeah, but it's too, Chronicle was. I remember watching it.
I liked
it.
It was fun.
I just wish it wasn't in that fucking handy cam.
Yeah. I think that's. I think we're all over that. I heard Rogue One will be shot like that. Yeah, the whole camera will be on a GoPro on somebody's lightsaber.
Dude, don't punch me in the balls like that.
Be terrible. Okay, next bit of news also has to do with the Star Wars anthology, the anthology series. The second anthology film will be Boba Fett's origin story.
Oh, I had a giant boner for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, finally they make up for 1313.
Yeah. Well, okay. Josh Trank recently exited the Disney project, which will follow the galaxy's most notorious bounty hunter. The next Star Wars anthology movie due in 2018 that recently lost director Josh Trank will be a Boba Fett origin story. Oh, he was doing
Boba Fett.
Boba Fett
okay,
is
so
what he's doing.
Rogue One. Okay.
No, okay, all right. Ooh. Yeah, okay. Confirming one of the many rumors that have appeared online the last several months.
Okay, well, I'd like to find out what his erratic behavior was and what happened.
Maybe he was whacking it on set, dude. Maybe he was just stressed. Relieve the stress.
You get handed Boba Fett, that's a giant. Like that's like whoever. Like that's like getting handed Deadpool.
Yeah.
In this day and age, except for.
It's a little bit bigger than that.
Boba Fett's not a little bit. It's a lot bigger than Deadpool. Fuck that. I'm sorry. I like Deadpool as much as the next person.
I mean, dude, Boba Fett is easily probably the most.
I've got Boba Fett tattooed on my upper right arm on my bicep.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Vader, he's probably one of the most iconic villains or characters in the science fiction universe. So the fact that there's a lot of stress on this movie. This movie has to deliver in almost every way. It has to deliver to all the thousands of Mandalorian fans. We all know that a lot of the fandom has kind of clung to the whole Mandalorian thing, and there's so much mystery. It's a character that really was never really explored by George Lucas himself.
Yeah.
In fact, in an interview years ago, he was kind of like, you could tell he kind of was like, when they were talking about Boba Fett, and he said in an interview, apparently, I guess in the comic books or whatever, they brought him back to life, and he like laughed. So George Lucas, I obviously never really cared about the character himself.
Yeah.
I mean, if he did, he probably wouldn't have given him a death like in Return of the Jedi. You know, Boba Fett, where? And then he flies across the screen like a moron and dies in the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
Best bounty hunter, one of the most iconic characters in the world, and he dies like a chump.
And even then, even when they did Clone Wars and everything, you got to see him as a kid. He was kind of a, as much as I love Boba Fett, he was kind of a bitch as a kid. Like, he's like, I want revenge on Mace Windu. I don't want to kill these other people.
Yeah.
But how important is that goal, Boba? Like, again, it's in Legends now, but
do we know when this is taking place yet? This movie?
I don't think I haven't read or seen anything that says when it takes place. But I mean, obviously, you can't do it after Return of the Jedi unless they do, in fact, bring it back to life. So I'm thinking between like New Hope, possibly, and Empire Strikes Back, maybe before, maybe even like immediately when he's becoming Boba Fett, perhaps. Boba.
Well, I think they're going to have to take it a completely different way and tell an entire new,
I think they should do
origin story.
They should make it like Jango Fett. Django Unchained. But it's Boba Fett, and it's him learning how to kill.
Well, he's still a kid though at this point, so he would have to go back and train with the Mandalorians.
Yeah. Do we know if they're? I mean, do you think they're going to put the original actor that played the clones and Jango?
Who knows?
I mean, it's definitely.
You mean in Boba? As Jango
Yeah,
Fett?
you remember the same actor that played Jango, and I hope they don't use the kid. Please.
No, the kid is looking.
What I thought they would. What I thought they would actually end up using is, in Attack of the Clones, all the clone troopers were the same actor.
Yeah.
They were a younger version of Jango, so that would make sense to make him.
Yeah, and he could be older, and it would be okay, because he is older now.
Yeah.
And I think it would work, and it would be so... that's the kind of the beautiful thing about Star Wars is they put this character back in a clone time, and he was an unmarked clone, or what was the terminology they used?
He wasn't a modified clone either.
There we go.
He didn't have a number. He didn't have the modification where he grew faster.
Yeah.
He was just a clone.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. It'll definitely be interesting to see what they do with it. Yeah. And again, there is a lot of pressure on this movie.
Is it bad that I kind of want it to be like a spaghetti? I guess almost like a spaghetti.
It needs
Western.
to be a gunslinger movie.
Like, is it bad that that's what I want from it?
No, it has to be. Well, that's what originally. That's okay. The fact that Jango Fett, from the very beginning, George Lucas was inspired by westerns for a lot of his stories, including, of course, the old samurai films. Yeah. But like a lot of it was, and samurai and western films are very interchangeable, and vice versa. They're both inspired of each.
Well, I mean, like Seven Samurai, Magnificent Seven,
right? So Jango, right there alone is an obvious inspiration from Django, which came out in the 60s. So
for those of you that don't know, the D is silent.
Right. So also, I mean, that character in Clone Wars is also a spaghetti western character. The guy with the blue face. I forget his name now.
Art Trooper.
Cad Bane.
Cad
Bane is a direct inspiration, I believe, from Sartana or Sabata. I'm not sure which one, but I'll have to look it up for the next show.
Yeah, but
I mean, he's so it would be cool. Obviously, you don't want to change the feel of Star Wars, but if they were to give us a gunslinger type I mean, even okay. Look at Attack of the Clones. Right before Jango Fett dies, we see him twirling his gun, shooting, twirls his gun. He's a cowboy gunslinger character. So,
well, you can even, I mean, because if you look at even
think about if they were to put Boba Fett in a backwater small planet.
Yeah, well, I mean, even then, like you look at some of the towns that Star Wars has, even in the cartoon, even in like the Clone Wars cartoons, and even in Rebels, you could easily have Boba Fett there in that gunslinger type of fashion, in that kind of outlaw bounty hunter,
If you you know what? Imagine in 15 to 30 seconds, what do you think needs to be put in this Boba Fett standalone film as a hardcore Boba Fett fan? Because obviously you have the tattoo. 30 seconds. What do you think needs to be in this movie?
It needs to show him like going back in training, because the Mandalorian armor is specific to Mandalore. But it's also the death
and the
death characters.
Talking to them as much as possible.
The death squad or whatever they were called in the Clone Wars. It has to show him like finding that, not only because of its dad, but he should go back and get that training, but then show him as a young, like not when he's a kid, but as a young bounty hunter, and what he's learning, and how and kind of in the end, it shows him that he is the best. The end of the film is leading him to.
Do you think we're going to see an origin story of sorts, or do you think we need to see an origin story? Because we kind of saw, wasn't Attack of the Clones kind of an origin story?
It kind of is, but you don't get a little bit in Attack of the Clones that his dad dies, he wants revenge on Mace Windu. You get pieces of him in Clone Wars.
What if Boba Fett movie is a revenge story of sorts? What if we see hatred of Jedi or something? Because obviously he can't get revenge on Mace Windu, because Mace Windu lives, and then he dies.
Well, so we never. Some people don't think that he,
there's a rumor he may come back, but
but I mean, it could be that it could just be him hunting down Jedi. But then too, you could also have it where you get his
maybe we find the relationship out with between him and Darth Vader, because we get a clear idea that they have some type of relationship, because in Empire Strikes Back, I especially want to hear from you, and no disintegrations, So obviously something was there. Did he kill somebody that he was supposed to bring to him at one point? Because he says, and no disintegrations. So I mean,
but even and that too, that opens up a whole world, because I mean, now that we all know that Anakin is Darth Vader, and now we have the previous 3 films.
Yeah.
That what if after Order 66 and everything like that, Anakin knows that Boba Fett is the son of Jango.
Yeah.
And
son of Jango. God, that would be a good title, like subtitle, dude.
God.
That's kind of a cool title you just came up with. All right, Dustin, really fast. What do you think, in about 30 seconds, what do you think is very important to see in this Fett film?
Well, obviously, I think the origin story would be very good. Him going back to Mandalore and training. Visually, I would like to see the first part of the movie, like the first half of it, being all the training, some of him meeting Darth Vader, going through it, kind of like in between the movies, without seeing any of the original characters or storyline, just kind of what he's doing in the original movies. And then, like the last part of the movie, he comes crawling out of the Sarlacc pit, and it pushes us forward into the newer series of movies.
You know what, dude? That might be kind of a cool idea, to kind of see maybe a timed gap. Yeah, like as long as it's done right, you almost have a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it goes through the entire course of before New Hope, between New Hope, and then after Return of the Jedi, and we see him, like maybe the last scene, we see things leading up to
Can we just get Tarantino for this?
So stupid. He would direct the hell out of this, dude.
That was actually a serious comment. It was a part joke, just because
he wouldn't do it, man. You know why? Because
he couldn't be as violent.
Well, no, not only that. He said in interviews before that he will never take on a franchise, because he's been offered franchises a lot. Because he says that what he would do, he says he would be tempted because he would love to do it, but what he would rather do is go back and just do his own. Because they asked him about superhero movies, he said, "Well, yes, I would love to direct a superhero movie, but I don't want to take on something that's not mine. So what I would do is I'd go back and make up my own superhero." So it just, and I get it, because he wants to create his own thing. Yeah. But man, you imagine if he did. Out of all the Star Wars films, I think that might be a decent choice.
Boba Fett would be the bet.
Just it's right up his alley, dude.
God.
Right up his alley. So, all right, we leave you guys with that. Hopefully, we leave you guys salivating after that comment. Thank you guys for listening. We will be back next week with some more Star Wars news. So, if you ever miss any part of our show, you want to save our show, head over to iTunes and Stitcher. Just search Star Wars From the Bacta Tank, and we will see you all next time.
Thank you for listening to From the Bacta Tank. From the Bacta Tank is executive produced by Michael Flores and Dustin Lucas. Hosted by Michael Flores, David Zabal. You can find out more about our show by going to www.fromthebactatank.com. You can also find us on Twitter at FromBactaTank, as well as Facebook, facebook.com/FromTheBactaTank. Thank you.